Good afternoon. I'm Lieutenant Elmer Horn with Douglas County Sheriff's Office, and we're here in one of our communities, and Sheriff Pounds is here with us. And Sheriff Pounds is very involved in his communities, and he come out. We brought out our grill and our smoker so we can come out and help cook for this community. And Sheriff Pounds himself has come out and helped cook with us, and he's here to cook and help these folks today.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is one of the programs that I call taking my community back. If you don't get out there and get involved in your community, you ain't gonna be able to get it back. And the sad part about it, we losing our young men at such a pace that it's unreal. We got to come up with something that will help us with these children. Got to. So this is what I'm doing. I love it. I'm out here in the sun. It's hot, but like I said earlier, we're gonna do these until we get that gap between law enforcement and the community bridge. We're gonna bridge that gap because we're gonna get out here, we're gonna shake hands, we're gonna find out if they got any kind of problem we can assist them with, and invite them to the sheriff's office and come to the roll call. Just come see what's going on at the office. Thank y'all so much for being here.
Thank you, Sheriff Pounds. And like I said, this is just one of many events that we bring this grill out to help with our communities and get involved. I'm here today at one of our community outreach days with our sound truck. And our sound truck is used for just what you see. We come out to community days, we play loud music, and be able to just have a good time with it and enjoy our community. At a sheriff's office, you get to see us in a little different light. We're not always out there writing tickets or locking people up. We come out to your community day and be a part of your day and help you celebrate your community. And this is just one of the ways that we can do that, was with our sound truck. We're here today in one of our communities. We brought our ice cream truck out. A lot of people like to laugh when I say the sheriff's office owns an ice cream truck, but this is exactly what it's for, is we bring it out to our communities. We give away ice cream. We don't charge for the ice cream. The ice cream is free. And we have partners in our businesses in our community that help pay for the ice cream so that we can give it away for free. And we give it away. We go to schools. This is just one of many events that we bring our ice cream truck to. We go to the school systems. We come out to community days, block parties. We just come out and see you and help you enjoy and celebrate your community. Thank you.
Woo! Hey! Hey! Me and Uncle Talk. She's corner. Woo! She's corner. Hey! Let me hit him on. She's corner. Talk about, and that's just what we're doing. From mental health to gun violence in a system that is losing. Police brutality, immigration, black business is booming. Education, prison system, corruption keeps on brewing.
Welcome to Coach's Corner. This is Coach Shaw, John Sloan, and we have Master Sergeant Basin. We're here today in the audience. We're broadcasting live, TV 1061 out of Douglasville, Georgia. Our call-in number is 770-485-7724. Let me get that again number, 770-485-7724. Tonight's topic is going to be about mental health related to gun violence. We'd like to thank our sponsors, State Farm, Sherry Denard, and Jaguars International. We're going to have a special guest tonight, going to be on, Tabitha Thomas, going to be broadcast on the second half. We also want to bring a special back to school rally we're having at McDonald High School, August the 5th, to the community. Again, with the back to school rally, August the 5th at McDonald High School. We also have a very special announcement. on Friday, listen, community, Friday, June 30th, at 12 to 4, Island Vibes, a brand new Caribbean restaurant, is giving out free sample of food to the whole community from 12 to 4. They're located at 922 Eagles Landing, Stockbridge, Georgia. Again, that address is 922 Eagles Landing. Probably, if you don't know where it is, Oven Kitchen. Remember, where Oven Kitchen is in the same parking lot. Again, that's this Friday, June the 30th, from 12 to 4. He's giving out free samples for his grand opening from 12 to 4. As we begin our show, thank you. All right, Butch, let's take off to John.
Good evening, and thank you for tuning in to tonight's show. My name is John Sloan, and tonight's topic is mental health. If you or your family member suffers from mental health, please feel free to call our toll-free number at 1-800-662-4357. Let me give that to you again. 1-800-662-4357. We have the privileges of having Master Sergeant in the house. Thank you for coming in.
You're welcome.
She's been in the military for 30 years, 6 months and 1 day. I get it right?
You did.
I got that right.
Thank you.
And Coach has also, if you believe it or not, has been in the military for 26 years, and he's been in law enforcement for 13 years. So what I'm going to speak about right now, that they have a lot of experience in the military, so we're going to start out talking about PTSD. Master Sergeant, can you please tell me and the audience what is PTSD?
Yes, according to the definition, PTSD is post-traumatic stress disorder. It is a psychotic disorder that may occur in people who have experienced or witnessed trauma events. Majority of the time when we hear PTSD, we refer to the military, because we're learning now that the veterans who are being deployed to Afghanistan or Iraq, they're coming back with those signs and symptoms. PTSD has been around for ages. It has been called different names. World War I, it was called shell shock. World War II, it was called combat fatigue. In today's time, it's called PTSD. What I'm learning is that majority of people have experienced some type of trauma in their life, whether they've been in the uniform or not, because we have all seen or have heard or been in certain living conditions and environments that causes trauma. Some of the traumas that some people may go through is rape. Right now, we're at a high risk in regards to the state of Georgia in regards to sex trafficking among youth.
Right.
And they're snatching up our babies, and the statistic is 15,000 up to 50,000 kids being snatched yearly.
Wow.
Sexual trauma. That's PTSD.
Wow.
Especially if you're a child and you're not able to return back to your loved ones.
Let me ask you a question, Coach.
Go ahead.
You've been in the military, a military man for 26 years, and you've been in law enforcement for 13 years. Give me an example that you came across with somebody with PTSD.
Well, I've come across people with PTSD that was actually seeing people get killed and shot, and they couldn't take it the first time, and they come back, they lose it. They think about that and nightmares and have things done. Because I've seen people get shot, I've seen people get killed, I've seen dead bodies come across me, and you think about it. I've seen your partner get killed over in Iraq, and my friend. Sometimes I think about him. I have nightmares. Sometimes you still get the same nightmares that you had, and you still think you're still in the battlefield. PTSD is real. To some people don't realize that. I know how to control it.
So let me ask you a question. Do you suffer from PTSD, being in the being in the military, or have you you've seen some things before, but have they been reoccurrence when you go to sleep at night? Do you see things that has happened?
I have.
Are you on medication?
No.
No. Have you seen some things?
Yes, I have. I served 1 year in Afghanistan, so I've
Yes.
seen many things. If people remember the movie Blind Side about Lawrence Taylor, where in the show, when they went through trauma, his mother always tell him to close his eyes and count to 10, and when you open your eyes, things will be better.
Mm-hmm.
However, for veterans who have seen things, done things, and the invisible wounds are still haunting them to their souls, when they're closed their eyes, they having brief flashbacks of the things that they had to do and see, and it's not good, and it's called intrusion.
Intrusion?
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen anybody walking down the street with PTSD and they did something and you said, oh, that person has PTSD, whether they scream at somebody or shout or whatever. Have you ever seen that? Can you
Yes.
elaborate on that?
Yes, as we get ready to celebrate the 4th of July, we have to be mindful of those who have served in the combat zone. Because if you're in your neighborhood and you setting off booming, banging type fireworks, that
Yeah.
can trigger me
Yes.
because of what I had to go through in Afghanistan. And we ask you guys not to do that. Go to a safe place where it's going to be already approved for you to do that so that you won't trigger someone that come out their door firing back at you.
You know they ain't trying to
So-
hear that.
That's what happens.
Right, wow, yeah, I can see that happening. That they come out, start firing, they get a flashback.
Right, because they're thinking they're back in the combat zone, and the only thing they hear and see is the loud booming and banging.
I'm staying away,
But you
from
know,
the firecrackers.
also,
Go ahead, man.
also PTSD, there's a lot of homeless vets with PTSD.
PTSD.
PTSD, and you see that more rapidly than few. There's more of them out there now that's homeless. It's nowhere that a vet should be out there homeless at
I
all.
agree.
Because they know they gave their life to you, you should give your life back to them.
But you know, let me just say this to you. The way that I see the Veterans Hospital, and the veterans don't really have benefits like they should be having. You know,
Correct.
it's my personal opinion because I see too many of them out there homeless, and they did the fighting for our country, and their legs is blown off, and arms is blown off, and they have PTSD. What's being done about that, man?
You know, VA is another side of a bad apple. VA, it takes you so long to get appointments at the VA hospital. You may not see a doctor. People, they're not certified, qualified. And, you know, they don't even have a lot of mental health clinics that really check on, unless you go check in that you're crazy and see something really crazy. VA is not the spot for veterans to go. They need a really good PDS health center for them to go in and check themselves in, more in the civilian sector than the vet sector. Because to me, most of the people at VA, they just there for just paycheck.
What are your sentiments on that?
Well, I agree with Coach Shaw because what we have to remember is from 2001 to 2010, there were a whole lot of vets that were deployed to Iraq.
Yes.
And a whole lot of vets came back with symptoms and they was redeployed back, not one, not two, maybe 3 times, and maybe up to 4 times. Well, when they got back that second time or that third time and they started acting out because of those invisible wounds, their command didn't know what to do with them. So instead of them sending them to a med board process so they can get the evaluation to see if they be fit for duty, they just kick them out of the military on bad papers.
And kick them, where do they go?
They go back home to their loved ones, and the loved ones don't know what they're going through. They can't identify. They don't know how to help. So when the family members get tired of them and the vets get tired, then they go into the streets. And they're going into the streets with no treatment. When you get bad papers, that cut you off from any type of pay, they cut you off for your health care, they cut you off for your mental health. So you're just out there.
Wow, isn't that something?
And that's
is what
millions.
our country do to our vets.
Yep, 3.8 million is service connected. So now just think about the 2001 to 2010 that has not been connected. And they're out there as homeless. That's 67,000 vets that are homeless today. 67,000.
What do you think about that, Coach?
Well, I'll tell you that, you know, people should look out for vets more. Like I said, there's places you go that they don't even honor vets, you know. But everybody should understand one thing. We gave your life for life. You know what I'm saying? And they don't look at it like that. I served 5 tours in combat zone. 5 different tours. And I was 82nd Airborne.
And you came out all right?
I came on.
I don't know if you're all right, Coach. I don't know if you're all right. You certified. Oh, man, I don't know.
So I did 5 tours over there, and like I said, I seen a lot, and I dealt with some dead bodies coming in. I had put bodies in there. I seen people get wounded in there, and like I said, we come back to our country. You know, it's sad that we come back to our country and they ain't being treated the same. You know, when I was over in Germany, I didn't even want to come back to the United States because I felt that I was getting treated better in Germany than I was getting treated in the States.
Well,
But the military sent us back, so we had to go home.
Wow. And you know, and I feel sorry for all veterans, especially for the ones that lost limbs, you know, and they're not getting any type of help.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And I'm a veteran, and I've seen somehow police treat certain veterans, you know, and they don't care that they were in this war. You know, they lost limbs, I had a friend, I forgot his name, it's a long time ago. He came out the Army, half his back was blown out. When he used to play basketball, you see the pink in his shoulder dip like that. And he did have PTSD. So you said something when July 4th, when they was doing firecrackers, he used to say, "Don't come around me with no firecrackers."
Right.
And he would pick up a stick and chase him. He ain't never have to worry about me coming with no firecrackers. He's a big dude. So he ain't never have to worry about I stayed far away from him as possible.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because in the hood, they just throw firecrackers out the window and stuff like that. And he beat up a couple people because of that. Then later on, he said, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Right. Because he was triggered.
Yeah, that was his trigger for him. You know, he's like, "Oh, stop it, stop it."
But you know, they think that everybody, all vets are crazy, got issues, and you know, they drink a lot, they take drugs and all that. But you got to look what we went through.
Yeah,
Look what you know.
we understand that.
Look what we went through. Some of them don't understand what we went through, how we went through it. Some had plush lives, some had rough lives. Because what MOS you had, what job you had, you know. But you know, people don't give us that honor that we should get as vets.
I was like Muhammad Ali. I ain't going in the war. Take me to jail. I ain't going.
If you have any comments, again, our number is 770-485-7724. We want you to talk about vets' mental health stage, what you think about what you've seen vets doing. Call again, that number is 770-485-7724. Call in. Let me hear your comments about our issues on today's topic.
So let me ask you a question. I'm changing from PTSD. What is mental health to you, Coach?
It's mental health to me is like comfort. Let me see. How can I say? To me, it's like. To me, it's like. Let me think for a minute.
Well, mental health to me includes our
Mood for feelings.
Right.
Feelings, thinking patterns, how you react. So to me, that's how it is with mental health.
I believe mental health could be emotional, it could be psychological, it can be your social well-being. What I mean by that is it affects how we think, how we feel, and how we act.
But man, what you mean by how we think, how you think? Break it down.
Well, when you have a mental illness, you don't think rationally. Especially if you're not on medication, you don't think rationally. But I would talk about that a little later on. But now that you mention that, let me say this to you. It also determines how you handle stress. You talked about stress.
This is true.
Related to ourselves and others, what choices we make on a daily basis. I would like to speak about different mental health issues. Let me start out with this. Maybe you might know what this is. Maybe you might know the definition of this. Maybe you might not. What is psychosis? That's a form of mental illness, and it comes from the Army as well. You know, it can come from anywhere. Do you know what psychosis is? If you don't know, it's cool. But do you know what psychosis is?
Tell John what it is.
Psychosis is this condition of the mind that it's hard to determine what's real and what's fake. You know, people say, "Oh, he's psychotic." You've heard people use that termination,
right.
and you got to feel about what is real and what is not real. And a part of that is delusions and hallucinations.
All right.
A lot of people get those two mixed up. What is a delusion and what is a hallucination? These are real deep diagnoses, you know, but it's simple. You know, a delusion is simply the perception of things is not really real. The external stimuli is not real. Like you think you hear somebody. Well, I started sniffing coke in the very beginning many years ago, 20, 30, 40 years ago. And when I sniff coke, I think I hear something. What do I hear? But it's nothing. I'm thinking I'm here. Or I thought I saw people out the window. So I thought about,
Paranoia.
yeah, what do these people do on a regular basis? It's got to be hard. So a part of that is, you know, they hear things, they see things, they touch things, they smell things, they taste things. They're not really there. So they going through some stuff. And delusions are like fixed beliefs. Like you may think that you're the president of the United States. You know
Well,
what I mean?
I never had that one.
Huh?
I never had that
Yeah,
one.
but some of us have. We think we're the president. Or you seen people stalk movie stars thinking that they're in love with them. Thinking the movie stars is in love with them and vice versa. And they go start stalking the movie stars, you
Right.
know. And you can also think that my mate is cheating, you have no proof, but you really think that they're cheating. You camouflage yourself outside the bushes to see effect. Is that what they doing? You know, all kind of different things. So it's real rough.
John, let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
How can you determine somebody have a mental illness? How can you determine if they have it?
Oh, you can just tell the way that they act over a period of time. If you study a person over a period of time, you can tell if they have, you maybe can't diagnose what it is, but you can tell they have a mental illness. You know, I worked in a mental hospital, and I was able to tell when a person is decompensating, which is mean when they're starting to get sick. Like, in other words, a person who's starting to decompensate, they can say, hello, Mr. Sloan, every day, how you doing, how you doing? And after a while, their hair is nice and combed and stuff, and after a while, they don't want to talk to you. They stop combing their hair. They start doing things they wouldn't normally do. So you can tell, but you have to kind of study people. You see people on the subway.
Certain body language.
Yeah, you see
will
a
do
person
it.
on the subway just talking to themselves. Everybody says he's crazy, but they're hearing voices. So
Right.
do you still sit there or do you move? What do you do, Master Sergeant?
Well, I sit there because I've gone through it. And I know that it's not something that they're currently doing to harm anyone. It's just that something that they haven't been treated for. And that goes back to my first initial point where that majority of the vets who have not been diagnosed but have it, they're out in the street as being homeless. And when I first came back from Afghanistan, I came back with a whole lot of anger aggression issues. So anything was my trigger in regards to how you treated me or talked to me, and I didn't have it, and you set me off.
Can a person be potentially dangerous like that?
If you're not taking your medication, yes.
What do you
Because
do?
I always tell people I'm
Yes,
trained to
they-
kill.
they-
So please don't make me angry.
I want to be your friend. I want to be your friend. You trained to kill. I'm soft as hell.
Yeah,
Right, what?
Yeah, we can be very dangerous. Mental illness can be very dangerous if you're not treated correctly. But you can also look at, I mean, come on, like they say with gun violence, they say mental illness is gun violence, but that's falsehood.
That is true.
It's not, gun violence is not mental illness. If there's a lot of Americans living in America with mental illness and they're not doing gun violence.
So I'm glad you brought that up. What do you think needs to be addressed first? Either one of y'all can address that. Hold up. Mental illness or gun violence? What do you think needs to be, with all of these shootings, these mass shootings out here lately, and people saying it's because of mental illness, people saying it's because of gun violence? What needs to be treated first? What needs to be adjustment to what first?
I think mental illness should be adjusted first.
Why?
Because mental illness is more dangerous than because a lot of people have got mental illness problems and don't have to carry a gun.
Correct.
And so we can't judge because gun violence versus mental illness. There's more Americans with mental illness than there are with gun violence. So we got just to check the mental illness part out, get people on the right medication, to get their mind right. Because everybody, you might have a mental illness, John. We don't know.
I do have mental illness. I know
I
have
might
mental
have
illness.
one. I don't know.
And I would say, who is the people that's doing gun violence? Is it the youths? Is it young adults? Or is it the veterans? Whenever I hear information, it's about kids in school bringing guns to school. So that comes from the home environment.
I think, you're right. I think that they need to address both of them simultaneously because a lot of people, there's so many guns out in the
Well,
street.
I disagree on that.
Go ahead, and you can-
because,
why you
because you
disagree?
understand, the older generation, your age, my age,
I'm not that old, man, but go ahead. Watch yourself,
but,
man.
But
Go
we
ahead.
wasn't using guns back then. We
All
was
right.
fist fighting
Right.
you might beat me up. Now I might beat you up the next day. Hey man, what's up?
Oh, you had a switchblade.
Yeah.
Remember
So
that?
gun violence wasn't mental illness. So mental illness was there before gun violence came out because it came out in a younger age and young generation. In the late 70s, somewhere around in there, in the 80s when we started noticing gun violence. It wasn't coming back in the 60s or 50s or back then. Gun violence, it was more like I said, fist fights.
On that point, I have to agree with Coach Shaw because sometimes mental illness and trauma is triggered in your youth because if you witness someone getting killed and you don't know how to process it as an adult and a youth and the adults around you don't know how to try to comfort you and know that you have been traumatized to try to get you that additional help, you go on in life thinking that that was okay. So you closing your eyes to it and then you see certain things like when you go to funerals. I tell people not to take their kids to funerals because that is a trauma. I remember going to about 30 funerals as a youth till I was about 13 years old. I saw it, I didn't know what was going on, I just happened to be there.
Right.
But when I went to combat zone and I saw it in a different fashion and I closed my eyes, all the dead bodies come back. And that wasn't just because of Afghanistan, it was because it was already there. I just didn't know it was there.
I mean, John, if you think about when we was going to school, back again when our age, we didn't have a lot of guns.
You keep saying our age. Come on, man. Come on. Go ahead.
But we didn't have a lot of gun violence inside our schools. You might find one or two maybe, but not like it is today.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely right.
5-year-olds, 6-year-olds packing guns. You know, back when we was 5, 6 years old, we wasn't carrying no. We was shooting marbles.
You
Master
know why?
Sergeant,
You
this is
know
for
why
you.
we wasn't carrying guns? Because we had the village, and every time we got in trouble in the village, they was always tearing our backside, chastising us, and notifying our parents.
They can't do that today. They can't do that today.
Today
They
there is
can't
no
do that
village
today.
for the kids, so they have that wisdom from the elderly.
So you saying that it's right for kids to go ahead and carry guns?
No,
because they
I'm
have
not
guns?
saying that is right. I'm
But-
saying that it is a lack of the village being we the people is going to take
Why is
care
that?
of
Why
us.
is that?
Because there has been a lot of things that's been removed from the school systems.
Such as,
Prayer.
okay.
Some of the curriculum has changed in regards to what the kids was able to do when we was growing up in school. The environment in regards to what kids are growing up in now is more gangs. We didn't have gangs when we was coming
Well,
up.
We did,
yeah,
but we didn't have it like they are today. You know, we had
Correct.
gangs in the community,
But
Yeah.
they were small and they were controlled by the village.
Right.
more or less. Yeah,
They took
right.
care of their neighborhoods.
Correct.
You know,
But
right.
but you gotta understand too, today kids are told kids are raising kids. For number one, that's one thing
I
about
agree.
it. Kids raising kids. So how you gonna control kids raising kids?
So let me ask you a question. You were tough in the military, Master Sergeant. You have to be real tough. So my question to you: you see two kids right now, 13 years old, fighting. Do you stop and break them up, or
Yes,
what
I
do you do?
Yes, I do.
Are you scared that they would retaliate on
No.
you and have a gun?
No.
See, I knew you were strong. I'm sorry, I'm not breaking them up, man. Because
yeah.
I know that they have guns. You know, they could possibly have guns. You know what I mean?
This is true.
And they can turn on me. So I'm just saying, I hope me and you walk together because you can break them up because I'm not breaking them up because I'm kind of scared right now of the things that happen. I think I used to be a tough guy. You know, I used to be thinking I was the man and stuff
See,
growing
that's
up.
a pre-notion of statistics in regards to just like driving while black. So everybody assuming that just because you black and you get pulled over by a white cop, that the cop gonna shoot you. So now you're labeling the kids who are fighting, and you saying that you're afraid because you think they might have
Well,
guns.
I'm just saying the way that society is today. You know, there's a lot of
But you're
kids,
part of
11, hold on, let me say
society.
this, yeah, but a lot of kids, 11, 12 years old, having guns today. You don't know who have guns. I look on YouTube and they showing guns out in Tennessee and different places. It just happened to be Tennessee, different places. Little kids showing guns like that. I'm not doing it. You know, I made it this long and this far, and I'm gonna continue to make it because I'm here for a reason.
Yes.
So I'm not breaking that up because anything can possibly happen. And I know that you're tough and stuff, and you probably break it up. What about you? You breaking it up?
Oh no, I ain't breaking
You've
it
been
up.
in the military 26 years. How you not gonna break them up, man?
Because you don't know who's in the crowd with them.
See, I'm soft. I've never been in the military, so I'm
but
not
you
doing
understand,
it.
you may break them up, but they might have partners in the crowd gonna get you for breaking them up because it might be a beef about land, drugs.
Man, you've been in the military 26 years.
It don't
man.
matter.
You know how to.
Yeah, but it don't matter. It's gonna how long you been there or how much you know.
Look at Master Sergeant. She said, she gonna handle it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
Did
Handle
you
it.
say it?
If
He
I'm
said
scared,
wrong.
I buy a dog. You know, I'm scared, I buy a dog. But I'm just saying, but you gotta understand that, but they're using like, even the guns shooting in the schools, they call that mental illness. That's not mental illness when they do the shooting in school. People, that's a cover.
That's what they label it?
That's what they labeled it because they don't want to deal with the issue at hand. You know, NRA is ran by what? Republicans. And you know, and that's ran by the money there. All right? So they gonna cover up a gun shooting and say it's mental illness. But did they
And
examine it? Did
You know why they
examine it?
want to do that?
Because they want to.
No. This is why they're doing it, in my opinion. If a child comes to school with a gun, he or she is at their last end in regards to bullying by their peers. They have been doing what their parents have asked them to do and go to school, get good grades, and stay out of trouble. But there's going to be several few of bad apples in school that is that trouble. And they're picking on the weakest link because they know they can do it and get away with it. The teachers are not protecting the kids. The principals are not protecting the kids. And when they go home, the parents are not home because they're working 1 to 3 jobs
That's
to try
true.
to
That's
provide
true.
for the
That's
kids.
true.
So what outlet does a child in elementary or middle school have when they're being bullied, either by cyberbullying or physical bullying in school?
Because school ain't offer nothing for the kids to do. There's nothing for them to do. When you guys, your class in last period, they ain't no after school. Some of them don't have after school programs. They don't have no mentor programs because they say they ain't got no money.
That's
right?
always been the case in regards to taking care of the kids.
Right.
There's always no
But
money.
they can take care
And there's
of
always
everything.
money, too.
There's
It's just
always
they
money.
allocate
You
it
can
in
have
different
money for
places.
guns. You can have money for guns, but you can't have money for kids. You know, back in the day when I was going playing ball and stuff at school, we didn't have to pay for no athletic. We didn't have to pay for no
That's true.
physical, no uniforms, no
Right.
shoe. It was given to us.
Right.
But now, kids
Everything's
got to
paid
pay
for
for
everything.
everything, and to the government coming in, knowing these are kids, poor these kids can't afford that. So what they do, they go do some violence with guns, or do they say, well, he did it because he was crazy, he was mentally ill. That's what we thought, labeling everybody as being mental ill.
Well, do you know, just Coach, this is what it is, man. The bottom line is that, again, it's all about money, man.
Yeah.
If you have a sect of people in a certain community and you take away their resources, now they gotta try to get money the best way they can.
Right.
They get money the best way they can, shooting, doing whatever in that community, and they go to jail. As long as they go to jail, when they go to jail, other people are making money off of them. You know what I'm saying? And they allow that until it gets into their community. Once things go into other people's community, now they want to address it. You know, like I said last week, I remember people, dope fiends in the 70s, running rampant in Harlem, where I'm from, and in certain communities. But as soon as it started going into the residential district, where you had a lot of Caucasian people at, they started addressing that. Because their kids, because their kids started coming to Harlem to buy it and was getting beat up and getting robbed and stuff. So they had to do something about that. So as long as it's in our communities, it's fine. But when it starts affecting them, now we're going to do something about it. But, you know.
So why is that?
It's all about money. It comes all about money.
And you know,
all about money.
So when you follow the money, where did the money lie?
It lies with the people in Congress.
Yeah, but how do the people in Congress get there?
How do they get there?
by your vote.
Correct. So it goes
By
back
what?
to we the people.
We the people. Yeah. But you got to understand two things.
Yeah.
Even mental health. I'll give you an example. Caucasian and black. If you killed somebody on the street, they're going to send you to jail. A white person comes, they're going to say, oh, it's mental health. They throw mental health comes out. They go where? A mental health institute. Why they don't do that same option? You know, they don't give the option.
You know why, man? This has been going on for hundreds
But
and
I'm
hundreds
just
of
kidding you
years.
saying
Right.
that. But they call that, because the money says you got mental health problems. But if you ain't got the money, you're a thug.
If you don't have no money, then you don't have no money. As long as you or your family have money, they will address certain situations and do that. But let me say something else about this mental health. I want to briefly talk about depression, okay? And then I hope y'all can comment on this, okay? It affects more than, all right, do you know how many people in the world, in the whole wide world?
About billions.
Yeah, you're right. It's 7,846,000,000 people, right? Of that, depression affects 280 million people, right? Now in the United States, there's 332 million. So 3/4 of us suffer from some form of depression.
That's true.
You know, like I said, there's 7,846,000,000 people. That's a lot of people in the world. But in the United States, 280 million people of all ages suffer from depression, and it's only 332 million people in the United States. So
But you gotta
3/4
understand,
of us suffer from that, man.
Everybody gonna have some kind of depression in their lifetime coming up.
I think you suffer from depression, man.
I did.
So how did you address that?
I had medication with the doctor, saw my psychology, addressed it, but I wasn't going to kill myself.
You still taking medication?
No, I'm still
Why you
taking that
moving? Why you
Yeah,
moving?
that's right. He got PTSD too, so I gotta get out the way, man.
But you gotta understand that everybody, baby, I don't care if you're 1 year old to 60,
Yeah.
one day you're going to find something going to depress you about something in life.
Yeah, of course.
I don't care if people say, no, I ain't going to be depressed. Yes, you are.
As Master Sergeant just stated, she said that you see trauma. You can develop depression about that. You can develop depression about your mother and father leaving you. About you being poor, about being ridiculed by other kids. You can develop depression about anything. Your girl leaving you. You can't eat. You can't sleep. Now you're depressed.
Right.
Man, you depressed over a girl. Come on, let's get depressed. So it can happen to anybody. We're gonna wrap this up. We're getting ready to go into commercial. Your last thoughts on depression?
Yes, if you or a loved one or family member that suffers from depression and you know the signs and symptoms, get them help because they ain't gonna get the help for themselves.
We'll be back in a minute. Our call-in line is 770-485-7724. We're going to come back in a few shortly. See you in a few.
There are no mistakes or regrets in this life, only the opportunity to learn and evolve. Leave your imprint on this earth. In that process, it's a responsibility and calling to aid others where possible. When you've been blessed, you should look to be a blessing. That can take the form of your time and resources. You only have one life to make a difference in others, so why not show up and be great? But not for the sake of yourself, but for a generation of onlookers who are looking to see what's possible. Being a State Farm good neighbor in the community is a privilege that I don't take for granted. My name is Sherry DeVos Denard, and my office is located in the industrious side of McDonough, Georgia. We service all of Georgia and neighboring states Alabama and South Carolina. You can reach us today for all of your auto, home, life, and small business needs at 678-782-3005 or online at sddinsurance.com and on all social media platforms. We look forward to earning your business. There are no mistakes.
Hi, I'm Chief Gary Sparks with the Douglasville Police Department. Today we want to give you some safety tips concerning traffic stops. Take a look.
So you look in your rear view mirror and see flashing blue lights. What do? Remain calm. Yield to the right and pull your vehicle over into an off-road area that is safe for both you and the officer. Put your car in park. Remove your foot from the brake and turn the radio off. Remain in your vehicle. Have your driver's license readily available for the officer. Keep your hands on the steering wheel, visible for the officer at all times. If you need to retrieve any items from the interior, explain what you're reaching for to the officer and avoid any sudden movements. Rolling the window down completely establishes a level of trust with the officer and allows for ease of interaction during the routine traffic stop. Be courteous and polite. Be cooperative and willing to follow the officer's instructions. During a routine traffic stop, the officer will return to his vehicle to run the tag and driver's license verification and complete a citation if one is necessary. Once the officer returns and approaches your vehicle, whether or not a citation or warning is issued, please remain calm, courteous, and cooperative. Sign the citation acknowledging you agree to appear in court, and do not dispute the citation with the officer. The officer will give you a court date to explain or defend your infraction.
Okay, ma'am. Like I told you, I did clock you at 51 in a 35 mile per hour speed zone. I did issue a citation, okay? This here is going to be your court date. I just need a signature from you stating that you received a copy of this citation, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Here's your driver license.
Thank you.
Along with a copy of the citation, okay? Do you have any questions or concerns for me?
No, sir.
Okay, well, you have a nice day, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Following these few simple steps will help ensure a safe interaction for both you and the officer.
I hope these few tips help you as it relates to dealing with law enforcement and traffic stops. Not only in traffic stops, but in all encounters with law enforcement. We hope that all our encounters are safe for the citizens as well as for our officers. Again, we want you to be safe, and if you have any problems with the Douglasville Police Department, don't hesitate to give us a call and make your concerns known. I would add that Georgia is a right to carry state, and we hope that if you are carrying, that on these traffic stops and all encounters, please let the officer know that you are carrying. This will ensure your safety and our officers' safety. Thank you, may God bless you, and may God keep our community safe. We are one.
From mental health to gun violence in a system that is losing. Police brutality, immigration, black business is booming. Education, prison system, corruption keeps on brewing.
come back to Coach's Corners second half. Our call-in line is 770-485-7724. Again, the number is 770-485-7724. Call in what you hear about your comments. We're talking about mental health, gun violence here in our community and around the world. Again, 770-485-7724. We want to hear your comments, what you got in your community. Again, so we're about to bring on the air right now Ms. Phaedra Thomas. She's the CEO of Self-Made Beauty, has a degree in criminal justice. She also worked in Judge Rice Street Jail, County Jail. We're going to get her input on what she saw, what she think about mental health, and let us talk for a minute for her. All right, Ms. Thomas, you're on the air. You on live.
Hey, guys. How are you all?
Hey, Ms. Thomas, we're doing we're good. Thank you.
Good. All right, so my quick comment about mental health and the jails. Number one, the jails are overcrowded, and mental health is definitely a serious issue that we're dealing with in the state of Georgia. The jails cannot take care of people with mental health issues, and that's with the veterans as well. So it's like we are really in a crisis as it pertains to mental health and trying to get help for these people. And seeing people when I was working in the jails and trying to be treated for mental health, it wasn't a winning battle, you know, because it's like you're just throwing people in jail, but you can't treat the issues that they're dealing with, and you just put them in general population with people who don't have mental health. And for those people to coincide together in those living conditions, it was just a mess.
Well, Ms. Thomas, let me ask you a question. Being that you worked in jail, how did y'all determine whose mental health problem issue and who wasn't?
Okay, so
how did y'all determine?
Okay, so they go through a screening process, and a lot of them sadly are returning. They're returning criminals, and they get arrested for just little simple stuff like simple trespassing, and it's just a recurring process that's going through. You know, it's like they're not really getting the help they need. So it's like, okay, we're gonna get you for trespassing. We'll let you stay in here for 3 or 4 days. Then we'll let you out on your own admission to show up in court. You don't come back. Then you get picked up again for not showing up to court. But it's like the issue of them with their mental health is not being addressed.
You know, let me say this. My name is John, Ms. Thomas. So you're right about that. I've worked in Rikers Island in New York City for a while, and you're right. They throw people with mental illness in with general population, and with general population, they abuse these people with mental illness.
Exactly.
They make fun of them. They beat them up. They take their comments every day. Do all that stuff, and they're not addressing the mental illness. Even though they get money to address this in prison, they don't address that. I was saying something earlier because it's all about money.
Right.
You know, it's all about money. And you being in working in the penitentiary, or you worked in there in criminal justice, you see it every day. And sometimes people don't even take their medication. They don't even go when they call sick call or medication. People don't even go because they want to act like they're normal. You know, tell us about that. I know you've heard about that.
Well, actually, I did see that. And the thing about it, you know, you can't force anyone to take their medications. And so that's another thing, you know. Yeah, we tell you, hey, it's time for meds. And I, you know, working there, and you yourself working in there, you knew certain people need their medications, but we can't force it because then we mess with these people's constitutional rights. And that's another thing that, you know, that needs to be addressed. How is it that we know these people need these certain medications, but we can't force or put into play some kind of reasoning of why they're not forced to take their medication? So that's another thing as well.
I got 2 questions, Ms. Thomas. First, a lot of people go to mental illness for protection, too. Some of them fake that they got a mental illness problem because they're scared to be in the general population. So they go so they can get in a better locked isolation unit so they don't have to go through deal with that. So they fake that they're mental illness. I'm in law enforcement also, so also I have seen that. And second question is that how do you know what medication to give them for their problem, their symptoms in the prison system? How do you know what medicine they need?
Okay, as an officer of the law, that is not my job to know what medications they need. That's why they have medical staff in there. And again, prior to them being booked into the jail, it's a screening process that they have to go through. And that's how they determine what medications, because they are seen by a physician while they are in jail. and he determines what medications that these people take. And again, a lot of these people are returning. They're just coming for little petty crimes. But it's like to see the same people at least 3 or 4 times a month, if not more, and then to hold these people in jail without giving them, without them being treated for their illness. They're not being treated, and then you let them go back into the public, knowing they haven't got their medication. So it's like it's just it's a lot.
Let me ask a question. Yeah, well, let me answer Coach's question. How they know that they suffer from mental illness? They do a psychosocial on these people when they come in jail, as you know. They do a psychosocial about their backgrounds. And they all have probably criminal backgrounds, but they do a psychosocial. And depending on the type of answers that they answer, they can make a decision because their psychologists and psychologists are there and social workers to decide, who's trained to decide if they're stable enough to go in the population or what their psychological issues are. And according to that, they give medication, they can be misdiagnosed too. And they can get the wrong medications. I've seen that happen in prison. And having the wrong medications is like having no medication at all because they go crazy.
But you know what? Let me say something too. Tell them they can do Prozac to these kids.
Prozac?
Prozac.
They don't get Prozac no more.
Well, I was getting into some of these kids
years ago.
Years ago, and they said it was crazy, right? And that's how they know what's wrong with them on that as a kid come up. They'll just control them, control their child, say they had that.
So why was they giving it to the kids? Was it for ADHD or ADD or?
Hey, I don't know. I just know they was giving a lot of kids Prozac. They said it was doing more damage than harm, more damage than good to them. Another thing too, I'm just take you off a subject. I know a lot of like John just said, they take a test to see if they're crazy or
they take a psychosocial.
I know there's military guys that can fake that test and say they're act crazy and got good sense, got master's degrees, but know how to play that system, and they give them all that medication. They don't take not one drop of medication. 90% they're crazy, and we know they're not. So there are people playing mental health games to get by with certain things they want to get by, for money, prestige, whatever.
Let me interject something. When you said that they're playing crazy, see. When you go if you can be in general population.
No, we're not talking about jail.
No, I'm saying that you can be in general population and you don't have to take your medication. But once you go into solitary confinement or go into a medical unit, you have to take it, more or less. They give you that medication, they watch you take it. They watch you take the medication. Now, if you don't take it, they'll talk to the doctor. They may send you back out in general population. So I've seen that too. So it's like, because the nurses come with their cups and they say, here, and they watch you, here's water, and swallow it, unless you cheek it. Well, other than that, I don't see why nobody want to play crazy and go into the mental institution, because it takes you a long time to get out.
No, guys in the military will play that they got a mental illness problem and they don't have it.
What is that for? So they don't have to go fight?
So they can get that money, to get the money for that.
What do you say, Master?
Well, that I have no comment on in particular because I don't know who would do that. Because once you get labeled as being someone with a mental health issue,
that's crazy.
That record follows you through your entire career. So if you happen to go and apply for a job and they run your background check and they see this information on there, that's going to deter them.
Red flag.
It's going to deter them.
But 90% of them who got the 100% don't want no job. They don't care about that. They say they gave their life for life, and so they ain't trying to go back and get another job. So they'll play that role just to get what they need to get out.
Still have on the phone.
You know what it is? I think.
You still have on the phone.
Yeah, I'm still here. I mean, you guys are making some very great points.
So that would go ahead.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask her who she is, what she do, and why she's on the show today, because I don't know that the audience know why we invited her.
Okay, so real quick, my name is Phaedra Thomas. I have a background in law enforcement. I obtained my bachelor's degree in criminal justice, where I'm actually working on my master's. I have a nonprofit. It's called Self-Made Beauty, and my nonprofit, it mentors to the youth about sex trafficking. That's really a big problem we're dealing with here in the state of Georgia and just globally. So I just want to bring awareness to our youth as it pertains to sex trafficking.
Well, let me back up. So you say you deal with sex trafficking? Well, we're gonna be talking about that segment in a couple weeks anyway about sex trafficking. We have to bring you back on because we do have some issues on sex trafficking here in Georgia. We know that, but we'll bring you back on that subject. Bring you back on that one.
And we would love to talk to you. We would love to talk to you because I have a bachelor's in criminal justice and a master's in human services, and I like talking to younger kids about life itself as a motivational speaker. So we'll definitely connect and see what we can do to try to help the youth of today.
Yeah, that would be great because I have weekly open dialogues every week, Wednesdays, 5 to 7 p.m., the months of June and July.
Okay.
And I do a monthly dialogue with the youth. So that'll be great to have you guys come out and speak with them.
Yeah, we can do that, Coach.
So, Ms. Thomas, so why did you start your nonprofit? What happened when you was working in the jail system?
The reason I started my nonprofit, like I said, when I was working in the jails, I had met this gentleman. You know, it's crazy because I did have tunnel vision. And to actually work in the jail, I'm just going to be honest, I didn't know people lived how a lot of those people, how a lot of people live. This guy was telling me that he was like 8, 9 years old, selling drugs, paying bills at 9 years old. And that just threw me for a loop. And he, we got to talking and stuff, and he was like, he was telling me that I wasn't like the other officers. He was like, Miss Thomas, you got a spirit. He was like, and I like your spirit. And, I was telling him about mentorship. I was like, a lot of youth are missing that. And he asked me if I would, be a part of his daughter's life, just like mentor to his daughter. And I was like, what? And he was like, because she needs it. And he said, what you're doing, he said, it needs to be done in today's society. So with him in that conversation, he made me, well, I'm not going to say he made me, but he encouraged me to start this nonprofit for the youth because our children, they really don't have the mentors that they need in today's society.
That's great. And also, since you're in law enforcement, here we go. So they say that why is the recidivism so high among African-American men between the ages of 18 and 28? It's simple, there's no right or wrong answer, but do you know why the recidivism rate is so high?
To be honest, because that's where all our fathers are. That's where all our men are in jail.
Right. They have no father or father figure in their lives, so they go out in the street, and the street show them love.
Yep.
And this is how the recidivism rate comes back so high. You're absolutely right about that, man.
Yep.
All right, Coach.
All right. Well, that's all we get. Anybody any more questions, Ms. Thomas?
No, I'm good, Ms. Thomas. We'll be in touch with you, Ms. Thomas. We got to hook up.
All right, that's it. You guys have a great day. Thank you so much for having me on.
Hey, it's our pleasure.
Thank you for being on.
All right, y'all have a great day.
All right, you too.
All right, as we continue with mental health, what do you think about hate crime, John? Did you think that was mental illness, hate crime?
Nah, I don't think hate crime is. It could be, but I just think that the way the society are today, we hate each other by the skin color, and that could be wrong. You know what I mean? That's what it is all about. It's hate crimes. It's because of the color of a person's skin, whether they're black or white. It's a hate crime. And go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say this. When we were born, we're not born to hate each other.
Right.
That's something that's learned, and it's in the home environment.
Right.
Because when a black or white child or Hispanic child is out on the playground field, they don't look at color. They're looking at someone that they can slide down the slide with, or swing up in the air with on the swings.
Exactly.
It's not until they get to a certain age and they're witnessing certain things that their parents are
home.
doing,
Right.
and then they take on that personality of their parents who don't know any better, and that kids duplicate that.
Right.
And that's what we got to start to educate the kids in the school about certain things. Just because you live in the environment, you don't have to be that environment.
But,
I grew up in Bankhead Court, and I grew up in the 80s. And in the 80s, the statistic was for a female, you're going to drop out of high school at the age of 16, you're going to be pregnant by the age of 15. And for the males, you're going to be strung out on drugs, and you're going to drop out, or you're going to be in a gang, or you're going to be dead. That's statistics. It don't have to be that way. You have to have we the people, who is the village, to say, no, this is another path that you can take if you just apply yourself to certain things. What are your goals in life? What are your dreams in life? Our kids don't have any. You ask them that question today, they don't have any. And for the ones that do, it's because of the way that they was raised by their parents, and those parents are either business owners, doctors, lawyers. So they're looking at a different lifestyle than the kids who are coming up in the projects or poverty.
Yeah, but
So
go ahead.
we the people have to show love to all of them.
Right, but you don't understand when people, the media have got it all twisted. When blacks do something against whites, they call it terrorism. But when the whites do something to black, they call it a hate crime, a mental health illness. And why is it like that? That's true facts.
Say that again.
When blacks does something towards a white or Caucasian, they say it's terrorism. But when the whites do something to black, they call it mental illness.
I don't think.
Well, I got
not
facts
in all
right here.
cases, Not in all cases. Me personally, I don't think that's in all cases. In some cases, it is a hate crime because it is
But
a hate crime.
The media
you
got
know?
there. It's not
The media blow things all out of proportion
and
every way, and they take sides to everything. Like I said to you, in New York, this white guy, he was in military. He killed this black guy on the subway. You heard about that?
No.
He killed this black guy on the subway, and wasn't arrested for 5 days until we the people started saying we need help. And not only that, when he was arrested, he got donations. I think it was like $20,000 or $40,000 to help his case, and they kept talking about. He was in the military. He was a cadet. He was in the military, but they kept saying the black guy was he was homeless. So look at the comparison: military homeless. So everybody gonna flock to him. So depending on how the spin that the dudes put on it, that's what happens, man. So some black guys are bad, some white guys are bad, and that's just what it is. You know what I mean? So that's how I see it. But you got some statistics there, man.
Yeah. Let me give you a myth. This is a myth. Mental illness causes gun violence and mass shooting. That's a myth. The fact is, mental illness is not a significant risk factor for a perpetrator or interpersonal violence. Majority of people with mental illness do not engage in violence against others, and most violence is caused by factors other than mental illness.
So what are the other factors?
Okay, factors like personal reasons, finance, depression. They're not mental illness. They're not caused by gun violence for mental illness.
The majority of the killings are not due to mental illness.
And that's how the media's put it. It just stopped the still. When the media, politicians, other public figures blame the shooter behavior on mental illness, they are stigmatizing and discriminating against the million of Americans living with mental illness. We just talked about that. That they're trying to use that gun, against people who really have mental illness problems. They throw that you got a mental illness because you shot somebody or you killed mass shooting.
Right.
And we don't agree on that.
Right.
What you say, Butch?
No, I think you're right. You said it all. I don't know, man. It's a shame that the society that we live in today, everything is escalated, everything is embellished. We hate one another because of this and because of that. So it's going to get worse before it getting any better, man. I believe it's going to get worse, but we're getting ready to close out.
Yeah.
Do you have any final thoughts you would like to speak about?
Good. Thank you for the invite. I appreciate it.
Nice
dialogue.
What are your final thoughts, Coach?
Hey, I find thought that everybody should, if they got mental illness, call in. I find this. What's that number again?
Okay, yeah, I'll put that. If the number is 770.
No, that's our number.
The number is
for mental health.
Let me just get this number for us. For anybody that have mental illness, right? You can call in. Let me find the number. All right, the number is 1-800-662-4357. Again, if you have you or your family member suffer from mental illness, you can call our toll-free hotline number at 1-800-662-4357. Thank you for stopping by tonight to Coach's Corner. We enjoyed having this conversation. Thank you to Master Sergeant. You came in and put a spin on a lot of different things.
You're welcome. Thank you,
Coach. I didn't know you was in law enforcement for that long.
But again, don't forget Friday, June the 30th, at 12 to 4 at Island Vibes on 922 Eagles Landing. They're getting out free sample food for their grand opening. Again, for everybody in the community, come stop by there, show them some love. That's 922 Eagles Landing Parkway in Stockbridge from 12 to 4. They're getting free food samples out to their new business there in Stockbridge. Great food. I already been there. Again, we want to thank Feeders Watch, our producer for the shows tonight. Thank John Sloan, Master Sergeant Baseman, and all our special guests came in tonight. Good night and be safe.
You locked a lot of people up?
Yeah.
Woo! Hey! Hey! Miracle Talk! got something to talk about, and that's just what we're doing. From mental health to gun violence in a system that is losing. Police brutality, immigration, black business is booming. Education, prison system, corruption keeps